So welcome to everybody. I see that you're from all over Johannesburg, Pretoria, Cape Town, you know, Western Cape. I'm glad people put specifics, table view, etc. Because for me, it's important to know where people around the globe are from, and even in a particular, you know, city or town where you're from. So welcome to Scottsboro, Western Cape, Centurion, Cancun, Mexico, table view, Canada. You know, I see Nigeria, Hermanus has just come on. South Africa, we've got a lot of people, obviously, because of the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving us your time. I appreciate it. We know the time doesn't suit around the globe. We are going to sort that out very shortly, but we felt we needed to do this call. There is so much negative and fake publicity out there, and I just got together with the other RAG members and said, let's do this, let's sort it out. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sharon Cousins. I reside in South Africa. I'm based in Johannesburg, sort of. I'm right by the airport. So it's a quick getaway for me to go and look for anybody if I need to. But I'm here, and I'm here for the best interests of every single MTI investor around the globe, irrelevant of where you are based. Why we're running this Zoom is to let you know who RAG is. Who are we? Why are we speaking on behalf of so many MTI investors, 280,000 of us around the globe? So I'm going to get straight into it with questions. Obviously, we have got questions from around the globe. We would be here all day and all night if we had to answer them all. So I'm just going to ask some key ones, and we're going to give you straight answers, factual answers, because that's what RAG is all about. So first of all, let's talk about these long videos. Chris, I'm going to ask you this in particular. I want to get to the point. Why are your videos so damn long every single time?
Okay, I think when we started out, there was a lot of confusion. So the way we produced the videos is they were actually conferences and also negotiations with the various people. So if you go back and you look at the videos, it involved a wide variety of advocates, solicitors, liquidators, auctioneers, and investors. So we all got around a table. We created a panel. We had no preconception of what was going to happen. We just ran it off the cuff. And the one thing that people have asked me, well, why were you wrong in the videos? Well, I was consulting. You were part of a consultant group, and this is really important for us to get it right. You get it wrong, the more wrong we get it, the more we lose. So we must do our absolute best to give people the right information. I also just want to say one other thing. I think that's really important. We don't purport to represent everybody. We represent those, we are investors doing our best to try to get the best possible result. And we needed to create a situation where we got to facts and that we could give facts out to people so that we could get the truth out for ourselves as well, and to get the best possible result for us as investors of MTI. And we are not part of MTI, apart from being an investor like everybody else who's interested. Okay. I think, does that cover it?
Yes. I want to know, why does RAG rather than support the liquidation process, rather than not wait for Johann Steynberg to be found, and maybe there's so many other options? Why rush? Why suddenly liquidation, and that's the route to go?
Okay. I think what we have to do is first establish the facts that we were presented on the 22nd, 23rd of December, okay? We had on the 17th of December that the Financial Service Conduct Authority, the FSCA in South Africa, had come out and told everybody there was a problem. And on the 17th of December, they published a document which very clearly said that there was no investment going on. And I think maybe it's a good idea just to look at the facts that came out of that document. Just give me a second. I'm trying to find it right now. I've got it in front of me now. So this was issued by the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. It's a press release. This is what they released to the press. On the 17th of December 2020, they said the investigating on Mirror Trading International nears completion. And in that document, they say a whole lot of stuff. And they say that it was illegal, that it was not properly registered. They claim that they haven't been, that the management of MTI had not been able to prove that they had sufficient funds on reserve in comparison to what was being reported in their trading. They couldn't find they couldn't find after having raided their offices, had a tremendous amount of time, a lot of interviews, couldn't find any proof of trading. And the trading organization that the management of MTI were alluding to didn't exist. And there was no proof of it. And I mean, that document is there. We will post this document on our website and put it under the heading of FSCA, and make sure that everybody can read that document. So in other words, that is an official government organization that came out that said, there's problems here. Guys, massive problems. Now, right at the bottom of that document, it also says, and this is really important for everybody to realize, it says, the investigation is ongoing and a criminal case has been opened by the FSCA with the South African Police Services.
Wow.
Okay, so that doesn't mean we are thinking about opening a criminal case. They are saying we have opened a criminal case. And I'm going to give you the docket number, which we will also put on our website. It was opened in Stellenbosch on the 12th of November already. So remember, they had opened the criminal case on the 12th of November this year, 2020, last year, guys, last year. Happy New Year, all the rest, okay? Last year, they'd opened it, and the case number is 245/11/2020. So that case, the criminal case, is open. Okay, so there's no doubt about it. It is running at the moment. Okay, so police are investigating. But remember, the police are there to prove that what happened was criminal, and then to go after the criminal perpetrators. That's what the police does. It's not for the police to recover your Bitcoin. That's not what they are going to be doing. Okay? They will assist in that, but you need an authority or organization which is tasked with that by the courts themselves. And that's what the liquidators will be doing. That's why they have to be there. And they will be acting in the interest of the investors. Okay?
So why rather the liquidation rather than just not?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good point. Now, I'm going to do that because a lot of people are saying, Johann's a good guy. He's going to come back. He's a wonderful person, you know. And I really have a really simple question for that. I had a farmer, if he was close to me, he would have beaten me up with an axe by me saying he knows Johann personally. He thinks Johann is, sorry, Johann, yeah, Johann, we'll say Johann. He knows he's a good guy and he's not, he didn't do this. I don't know where Johann is. I have lots of conjecture about where he is and what he's doing. But the other side of it is, I don't know if he's good or bad because we don't know if he's been kidnapped. We have no evidence. He might actually, to an extent, be innocent in this, but we can't sit as investors, sit and wait until Johann eventually decides, or somebody decides to release Johann, because he's sitting with all the information, whether he is kidnapped, whether he has run away, whether he is hiding under a rock in Saudi Arabia, wherever he is sitting with all the information of where the bulk of these assets are. And that's the problem. If we allow that to go unchecked, then we can lose control of the assets. And the law the law needs to be empowered to follow up on this. And that's what's happened when investors have stepped up and said, we want to have the company liquidated. And it's not liquidated for that individual investor. When a company gets liquidated, it's liquidated for all the creditors, no matter where you are or what you are not. Now let's just go. I just want to cover two scenarios quickly, because we've had this question where people are saying, well, I don't want to go down the liquidation path. We don't either. We would love Johann to come to the table, or the MTI management. I don't know who they all are. We're not too interested. Or the top tiers in MTI to come up to the table and say, guys, here we are. We're ready to settle this out. Great. We can reverse. We could, if they brought enough assets to the table, the liquidation can be reversed, and they can just then say, look, we're not officially trading anymore. We're going to pay everybody back their Bitcoin. Magic. But they need to step up to the table for that to happen. And I just want to take it one step further, and you must think about this. We found out about this liquidation. Every single office they had the liquidation, pending liquidation documents served on their offices, so that they couldn't turn around and say, and not a single representation ended up in court from their side. Nobody from their side said, don't liquidate the company, which means that they're not prepared to come to the table. That's all that's saying to us. And all of the management, I challenge every single person who is in the management of MTI, or can be defined as in the management or upper structure, or is even the receptionist. You need to go to one of our advocates or one of our lawyers and say, here I am, how can I help? Because we need your help. The more help we get from those people, the safer it is for all the investors. That call is out there. And the trouble is, if somebody needs to come and find you later, the relationship with you will be more aggressive. And you know that that's one thing that. An interesting question came up, and I think we need to say, we're still on this point. If you are Johann, or you are a Sherry, or you are a whatever you are, and whoever you are in the senior management, the best thing you can do for your family is to step up and answer our questions. Get to the right people. Don't come to me, I'm not the right person, but go find out, go to Advocate Hendrik van Staden, or Vivian Vaughan, or any one of the senior people that we have had on our panels, or the liquidators people, whoever you go to, step up, go and say, here I am. Because if you stand there and you take the beating and you get on with this and get it solved, this doesn't flow over to your family. But if you're not there and you're not available, what's going to happen? The police are going to have to go to your mother and your father and your sister and everybody else to try to find where you are. And that's what happens in these situations. Really, really important. Now, just to follow through, let's say, for instance, we have the option of all of us going privately. So all the investors out there say, what do you flippin' guys know about this thing? And you don't know what you're talking about. I own 40,000 properties and I put in £100,000 and I want my lawyer to deal with this. Well, you probably might have a better lawyer than what we've got and all the rest of that. But in the end, by doing that, you're still going to end up dealing with the liquidators. So you'll pay your lawyer a bunch of money and he's going to have to deal with the liquidators. And him bringing another liquidation action, all that happens is the courts won't take it anymore because that action is already gone. So you can bring your liquidation action if you have a different thing. But even if you bring it, the creditors are all just a bowl of creditors. And that means that all these actions are ending up in one bowl of creditors, which is stuck with the liquidators that are going to be appointed by the master of the court. So you need to keep tabs on what's going on. you need to check, and that's what we're doing. We're doing our best to check and keep the information going to you people and make sure that we run this correctly. We are doing everything we can in our power to help all of us as investors to make the right decisions. Okay, so that's the first problem. So it becomes futile if you think. Now I'm going to just read you these steps, and we will publish them on our website as well. So option 1 for a private collection, you would say this selfish action because small investors won't have the funding. So the individual investor doesn't have the funding to run this. He hasn't got the money to go out there. The guy who put in 500 pounds or 300 pounds or 1,000 rand or 2,000 rand, he doesn't have the money to go and pay for a bunch of solicitors to do the work for him. But the nice thing is, now that this action's been taken, he's protected because he's part of the bowl. He's in that bowl of assets that are going to be released. Okay. So there are steps you'd have to do if you wanted to go by yourself. You will have to see a solicitor in your country. If you're a foreigner, you will have to see one in South Africa. You will then, your solicitor will appoint somebody as a correspondent or as a solicitor or an advocate to take action on you. And then you'll end up reporting to the solicitor or the attorney on record in South Africa who is suing MTI. So you're going to go through all this process and still end up with the guys who are actually acting at the moment. And what's the point of having those costs? It's not necessary. You're not going to get more because you have more solicitors. It's not going to work like that. It's not one of those sort of cases. So we're trying to do a class action so that we can at least have some say in who gets appointed to follow these things and to be able to hold these people to account. The solicitors and the liquidators and those that are standing up and saying, here we are going to do this. One person, one group holding them to account is good in a sense. There's a lot of synergy there, and it reduces a lot of duplication. That's an argument for another day.
I think we've covered that quite extensively. Unless there's something critical you think you need to add.
I just think I'll just go through the points here that I asked the solicitors to just give us an update of where we stand at the moment. And then we'll take the rest of the questions. Okay, so we're looking at why RAG and why the people in RAG. And now why RAG? This is where we are. I'm going to read this out to you because it says it a lot better and more legal than I can say it. And this was prepared by an advocate. As the position stands now, the only cost that you will incur now is the cost to send your requisition to the preferred liquidator. Please, guys, go to our website, look at our preferred liquidators. You may choose one of them, or you can choose anybody you like, but get your requisition in as soon as possible. We've examined those liquidators. They are good people. They are stand-up people. They are properly regulated. They are part of the liquidation fraternity. But above all, they have forensic tracking experience that has been proved. That's why we chose them. Because they could say to us, in this case, we did this. In this case, we did this. And that involves tracking Bitcoin as well. Okay, they have the experience, they have the investigators and the right other people. Just a second, sorry. Then he carries on and he says, once the liquidator is appointed, liquidators, we doubt this is going to be single. It's going to probably be at least 3, but could possibly be more as well. Once the liquidators are appointed, they will, at no cost to you, the investor, at their own risk, start looking for your Bitcoin and will act against the people that have undue prevalence. What does that mean? That means that anybody in the management team who have bought horses and horse carriages and plots of land and farms, and I don't know, there's a lot of stuff these guys have bought. So I think they need to come back and give it back. Maybe you do as well. So they will go after them, all right? They will do various 417, 4118 inquiries to establish who gained unlawful monies and undue prevalence. So they will do investigations on these principal people and go after them and go after your assets, okay? These liquidators are experts in their fields, and furthermore, they will have the Insolvency Act behind them. Guys, that act has got massive teeth, believe me. It doesn't stop unless it gets it all. It will devour everything out there to make sure that we get there. And the guys that we've got on that team, I mean, that main honcho, you just look in his eyes and you get scared. I tell you, I'm running already. The Insolvency Act has much more teeth and reach than the commercial law that an attorney will have and use when he approaches the court for relief. You're an individual investor, you come along with your attorney, he doesn't have the skills here. If you know what is required to track this Bitcoin, you have to have the right people who can do it. And which attorney can stand up there, apart from the people, specifically the people we have in this pot of ours, which were in the meetings we've already had, they have that ability. Okay, why would you want to oppose the liquidation and do this on a solo? I think we've covered that quite well. The biggest reason why liquidation will work better than a private attempt lies in the fact that the liquidators through the Insolvency Act can have a go at the top structure that got serious commission and who got serious benefit to bring such money back to the estate. And I do feel that there are people out there that are scared because of this. And I realize that they might be telling you guys not to go for the liquidation. And they are, some of them might actually be at the heads of your downline. And I would suggest that they should do exactly what we've called the other people to do. That is, go to the authorities, hold up their hands, and just talk to them. Okay, in the case of the private perusal, you will have no claim against the top structure whatsoever because you are dealing with, you've dealt with MTI. So what's happening at the moment is that if your beef, your personal beef is with MTI, you can't go against Johann Steynberg. You have to go at MTI first. But the way this is now structured within this group and with the Financial Services Authority and all the rest, this now makes it, if we go collectively as a group and we help these people as much as we possibly can, then this can permeate out downwards if the examination of the assets and everything else tell the story that we believe it will tell. Okay, I'm over. That's it. That's my speech.
Right.
Sorry, that was too long, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. So is RAG part of the management of MTI structure? So obviously there's so-called corporate at MTI. I want to know that the RAG members, are they in MTI Investors? Are they MTI Management? Like, how has RAG come about? Who is RAG?
Yeah, RAG is mostly made up of people who are either investors at the first level, have just invested, and or people who in good faith got their families and friends involved in investment as well. So they are leaders who are stepping up to the plate and saying, guys, you know, I'm sorry. The problem with this flippin' Ponzi scheme is that the person who brought me into it is a really good friend of mine and has been a friend of mine for 15 years. Really good friend of mine. I would trust him with my life. No problem at all. He's like a brother to me, especially living in the UK by myself. He's like a brother to me. And can you imagine what he feels like? Can you imagine what all those people feel like? Because what happens is, this is what happens. Your father comes to you, your sister comes to you. They show you they're making money and they bring you into the scheme. And this is going to drive families apart. People are going to start getting upset because the brother just wanted to do something good for you. And that's the problem. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, then answer this one, because how come if you look at...
Sorry, Sharon.
Yes.
Sharon, please, can I just on that question of Chris there, one of the people participating in the call here says that in our last meeting we said we'd put the CVs of the RAG team on the website and they can't find it. Is it on the website yet?
No. No,
we'll try and get it up still.
Yeah, we'll try and get it up as soon as we can. But I mean, I notice people have been searching me everywhere, and the only thing they don't know is what color underpants I've got on today. It's not nice.
I think it's a fair comment from the person,
Yes,
as we did say in our last meeting, we would put the CVs on the website. So
yeah,
I think I just want to keep us accountable.
Thanks for that, Stephen. I just want to say that us as MTI investors sitting on the RAG team are also putting ourselves out there. You know, by putting our CVs out there, we're putting our necks out. You know, we've got targets on our back right now. Let me just say it as it is, because we've raised our hands and said we'll stand up for 280,000 people around the globe who have invested their pensions, who have invested hard-earned money. And, you know, we can put not our whole CVs up there, but certainly say this is who we are. Because we are just MTI investors, like each and every person listening to this call. But a big question that's come up is how come there has been an email from RAG via MTI support, via the MTI back office? People have received an email from us.
The only way I can explain that, and honestly, we had no communication with anybody there. The only way that I can explain that is that somebody on that support system is feeling they need to get the truth out, and they are, and I'm taking this from a nice point of view. There are two scenarios here, and they are feeling guilty about what's going on, and they want to help. So they're pointing people to us. That's the nice scenario. The bad scenario is that they want to tie us to MTI and to discredit us. So there are two scenarios there. And we don't know how that played out because we had no influence in that happening. So that's the truth.
Okay, thank you. I have had a lot of questions. Why are we not looking for Johann Steynberg? Why are we just going liquidate, and not looking for them?
It's really simple. Let's assume, just for a moment, that we find Johann Steynberg in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro. He's right there in Rio de Janeiro and in Brazil. We don't know he is, but let's assume we know he's there. What do we do next? You have to get an extradition order. You have to go around. While you're playing with all this stuff, trying to get hold of Johann Steynberg, these other friends of ours, management team in MTI, whatever they are, they're not just, I want to not be nasty to them. They are out there distributing or liquidating these funds. We have to lock down the funds before we can start roping in the individuals. And if we can lock down the funds and get hold of all the funds and all the wallets and everything else, which is what our investigators and solicitors will do the moment this appointment is done. If we get the right people who can do it, they will go after locking down the bulk of those funds as quickly as possible. You cannot spend 800 million pounds overnight. You cannot liquidate it. If you need buildings to occupy that amount of money, and no bank can pay it out to you. If you liquidate that fund, that thing, and your name is, let's say, Johann Puchempoel, and you liquidate that wallet, it goes into your bank account. And what do you think is, you as Johann Puchempoel will know that that's a problem. Because if you liquidate that fund into a bank account with all these investigations going on, what's going to happen? It's going to be seized. So you now have to keep it in these wallets and try and float it all over the place. That's what you're going to be trying to do. So even if we go after Johann in Brazil, it's going to take us a long time to get him out of Brazil. And how much is going to happen while we are playing around trying to get Johann back to South Africa? And, you know, there's so much bad feeling out there. You don't know what will happen to Johann. And then when Johann goes, you lose control of all the wallets anyway. So the best thing is get control of all of this first. And the way to do that is through the teeth that these liquidators have. Get those bulldogs to go and grab it.
Let me ask you directly then. We're not going to look for him. That's quite obvious.
No.
I want to know, is Interpol, is MI5,
Oh, absolutely.
is MTI, are they looking for him?
Absolutely. Believe me, there'll be lots of people out there searching for him at this stage. I think you need to just think for yourself. This is an international incident. I'll just give you some quick statistics. We have got, I'm talking about permanent visitors. We have over 40,000 permanent visitors on our website, which was established 4 days ago, which was established, was actually came live with its statistics. It came live a little bit earlier, but the statistics were only put on Christmas Day. Since then till now, and this was when I checked this morning, 54% of our visitors were South Africans. All the rest are coming from the rest of the world, with figures as high as 28% from America. And America, Canada, Britain, and some European countries, and there are thousands and thousands of people that are outside of South Africa. And the other thing too, we've got to realize, and this is the stat that I've got, but I can't confirm it yet. It's something we'll have to look into later. We've got a stat at the moment, which says that there are 280,000 investors, and only 90,000 of those investors are in South Africa. So the statistic that we've got and the visitors on the website are slightly in conflict. But in worst case scenario, over 46% of the investors are outside of South Africa. But that makes this a massive international incident.
Okay. So someone's looking for him. That's all we need to know.
Absolutely.
But why then can't the MTI system, so the back office, pay us anyway? Because the back office is still there.
No,
so
because it doesn't have any assets. Or let's put it this way: the back office can be authorized to make those payments. I mean, we're all sitting with payments. I mean, I've been pending for nearly 12, 14 days now, because I got really scared when I saw, even before then, I can't even remember. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is we're all sitting with pending payouts at the moment. They can't actually physically pay it because the Bitcoin has been, it's as if the Bitcoin has been removed from the assets of the actual company. So it's no longer linked to the assets of the company. And there's nobody to authorize that payment. So that's the sort of problem you had. You see, they set up this, from what I understand, this is purely, please conjecture, but from what I understand from the programming side, they set up the actual bit that was doing all the management of a person's wallet and all the rest of that, separate from the actual attachment to the account. And now that account has been taken away by somebody or something, and they are not prepared to tell us who's got all that Bitcoin under their control, or the person who has, or the persons, we don't know, who have, are not coming forward and saying, guys, sorry, geez, I got lost on the 14th of December. I was going to supper and I fell off a bus and I've been in hospital with insomnia and I only just realized who I was and I'm ready to come to the table, whatever. That's the problem.
So how come the payments from the MTI system, you're talking about are going to be paid out in ZAR, in rands, when there are people on this call from Mexico, from Canada, and you're talking rands every time and not.
I think we have to look at it from the legal system point of view. The legal system in South Africa will evaluate all assets in terms of rand, and it understands, the legal system in South Africa understands rand, and Bitcoin is a commodity. It's a lot of people don't recognize it as a currency. We actually buying commodity. It's like buying a share. It's the same type of thing. It's a commodity. So that commodity has to be liquidated into rand for payout. That's where we are at the moment in terms of the legal system. The question is, will there be the possibility of filing interdicts and requesting the Supreme Court to step in and all these other things? Those are things we can deal with once we have attachment of the Bitcoin. And I'm sure that the liquidators will take that into account. And there might be a situation where and I'm speculating. This is, unfortunately, I sort of posed this question in one of our conferences, and all these legal teams with their rigidity came down on top of me. But I think there is space of going to the court and saying, if we have people who want to be paid in Bitcoin, can we request that that Bitcoin remain as Bitcoin, their share be remain as Bitcoin? There is capacity to have that argument in the court, but it's not the time.
Is there a chance of us getting our Bitcoin back? Is there a chance of us seeing anything?
As long as we have the correct liquidators involved, as long as we have the correct investigative staff involved, as long as we have the correct advocates and solicitors involved, as long as those teams do their work, there is a really good chance of getting back a very large amount of this Bitcoin. And it's wrong of me to put false hope out there, but there is a lot of stuff that can be recovered. How much we will only see in the near future. Once we must get these liquidators appointed as soon as possible so they can get out there and start working. And within that realm of liquidators are some amazing, amazing investigators who have already brought to table a lot of information for the authorities. So yes, the answer is yes, but how much you will get back? And the other question is, ask it now. When?
Well, if it's there, you're saying that we'll get it back. How do we know there's Bitcoin there? Because how do we know this whole thing's real?
You can't kill the Bitcoin. What are you going to do with it? It's an electronic track. It's going to be like somebody walking in the sand. When somebody walks on the beach in the sand before before time and water, there is a track there. You can follow that track. In the bush war, we used to track all sorts of things by tracking them. These things have got electronic footprints. They can be tracked. Your Bitcoin, which you paid in, has an electronic footprint. So it will be seen where it goes into a wallet. Then it will be seen where it goes from that wallet to another wallet.
So you're telling me that my money, the money that people on this call, Adele, Late, Robbie, their money's there still. It's somewhere there.
It's somewhere there until somebody liquidates it, and then that Bitcoin is going to go to somebody else's wallet and some pounds are going to come out, but then somebody else will have that Bitcoin. But you're not going to be able to liquidate. What are you going to do? Let's assume I have this whole wallet now and I liquidate it for 800 million pounds today. What the hell am I going to do with that 800 million pound and leave it untrackable? Everybody knows who I am. What am I going to do with it? It's not going to work. I think you've got more chance of going and robbing a bank and taking the money that you've robbed away from that bank than you have of actually using this Bitcoin in the end. That's what my own nose tells me.
Are people telling me it can be washed and hidden?
You can't break that track down. Just leave it to the forensic guys. They've told me, look, we can track this stuff. At this stage, as long as... They
are tracking it right now. They are tracking it.
You're putting me on the spot.
I want to know. I'm an MTI investor. It doesn't matter that I put in less money. then the guy that I was talking
it's being watched. But let's leave it there.
Okay, thank you. What happens to the people who haven't completed a form yet, that don't ever complete a form because they maybe haven't even got to hear about our website, don't even know who any of us on the RAG team are, and they don't even know that MTI is like gone upside down because we're not even sure what's going on? What happens to those people now?
They go into the pot. First of all, that pot is, it's like going to let's go, say I go to the shop and I buy this big pot of soup. And there are a lot of people who have a claim on that pot of soup. And what will happen is I will evaluate each person's claim on how much of that pot of soup they can get, level it all out, submit the documents to the master of the court, and he will then be able to pay out. But if you have not submitted your claims as this liquidation proceeds, you are not going to be getting any part of that pot. And you can't come back after that pot's lid has been taken off and it's been distributed and then say to us, oh my goodness, guys, I was supposed to submit my stuff there and I wasn't even on the record. I now want my stuff. It's gone. It's finished. Over. So if you don't get I don't want to tell you guys this because this is bad. I don't want you to not submit your vote. Please, I want everybody to vote for a liquidator. And if you think that the liquidators that we've chosen, then just submit your vote for any liquidator you want to submit it for. But in the end, you want to be on the books and get onto the books so that the liquidators and the rest of us can actually communicate with you and keep you up to date and also tell you and also sort out whatever claim you have on the spot that is going to be recovered.
Okay, but there was a cutoff date for those forms. Now you're saying I can submit another, another.
If you go back to our video of last night, we put a video online last night to tell people that the actual court was closed at 10 o'clock in the morning, which was prior to the expiry date. And we tried to get in to talk to the master about it. But what happened was, because of the weekend and all the rest, this has been extended to Monday morning. But there's so much work to do for the liquidators now that it was actually a good thing because a lot of forms were still coming in at that stage. And we had emails go down and systems crash and all the rest of that. And that caused delays as well, because there were just much more people than we ever expected. So that's the reason.
Okay, great. Stefan, I just want to say thank you for answering everybody on the right. I know that Galaxy S9 has a question that's not being answered. I can't see the question, so please can you just answer that? My next question is, because we're such an international group of people and we now are doing this claim in South Africa, do the people who are living in, I'm going to mention you again, Canada and Cancun, the rest of the United States, New Zealand, everywhere else where we have got investors, do they have the same benefits that I get and Stefan get because we're in South Africa? Chris, you're in the UK. So everybody internationally, are they getting what we're getting?
Yeah, well, it'll be equal for everybody in terms of what they invested and what their investment value is in that pot. So it doesn't matter what your color or creed or whatever you are. That's not going to make a difference. The main thing is to get onto the system and submit your forms. Do get yourself onto a system so you can be updated. Make sure you're keeping track of what's going on, and then submit. But in the end, remember, this will be, let's say you put in 300 Bitcoin or something like that, and you've got 300 Bitcoin in this pot, and they only recover 5,000 Bitcoin. Then my 300 Bitcoin might be a small representation of 2,000 Bitcoin. So it will be worked out what my value is. But in the end, when it converts to Rand, if it converts to Rand, and I'm putting it out there that we will have to talk very seriously to the authorities or whether we just can't keep it in Bitcoin. But it might not be in our interest because the Bitcoin might be falling at that stage. These are all issues we can't preempt. So, but that value will be the same. If you're in South Africa and you're going to be paid out your 5 Bitcoin, the guy in Canada will be paid out 5 Bitcoin. And there will be arrangements made with the South African Reserve Bank on how all of those things will be. That there'll be discussions taking place on how all of that will happen. And there is potential that the bulk of the funds will be transferred to either New York or to the UK and then distributed from there. There's all these sort of issues that can be resolved, but we would have to keep on top of it. But is my claim valid? Your claim is exactly, if you're owed 3 Bitcoin, it doesn't matter where you live, what the color of your skin is, or who you are owed 3 Bitcoin. You will get your apportionment of your 3 Bitcoin in the end. You might only get back 1.5 Bitcoin, but that's everybody else who's owed 3 Bitcoin will only get back 1.5 Bitcoin.
Why are you saying only 1.5? I want all my money back.
We have to go after a lot of assets, and we have to be able to track all this stuff. And the more
define the assets. You keep on saying assets. Define the assets.
The assets are the Bitcoin, the houses, the cars, the Ferraris, the fur coats, the gardener who's bought properties on behalf of certain people. They'll know who they are. They've empowered. They gave their gardener, they put some really interesting properties on their gardener's name. So those things they are going to be taken back from the gardener, and they will be sold at auction at the end, and so on. And it's important. You know what's important? Yeah. The guys who in the end come to us and come on our list, we will tell them about the auctions. So they can go to the auctions and maybe buy a really nice property from a gardener to a really good price. They can sell it more, and then that'll be good for them as well. Because I'll do my absolute best that everybody gets notification of any auctions that come out of this, so that they can go and buy some stuff at good prices and maybe do even better.
How can we trust is a question that comes from the public. How can we trust RAG? Because
we're a non-profit organization made up of people who feel they want to do something to help their investors, and we get beaten up for that. How is that possible? Why can you do that? Well, I am part of an organization that feeds somewhere between 30 and 70 people every night in Walthamstow. And I don't ask anybody anything for that. And I do it because I feel it needs to be done. And that's who we are. We are now people who are feeling, some of us are saying, I brought in my brother and my sister, and we've all lost. We need to get some of this back somehow. And I've invested, and I'm thinking I'd like my Bitcoin back, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of pain out there, and somebody has to at least help as many people as we can. And the RAG guys have all stood up and said, I'm here, I'm being counted. And then we get beaten up by the trolls and the people saying, well, we must stop this liquidation. Why do you want to stop the liquidation? Are you feeling guilty about something? Come to the table, man. Come and give back. It's time to pay back. Come on, Johann, show us what a great guy he is. That farmer who said I was the worst person under the sun. I don't know, was that you? Anyway, he said I was the worst person under the sun for pushing for this liquidation. Everyone's fighting with me because of that. Why? What we want to do is get your money back to you, to get it back to where it belongs. And we're doing our best to appoint the best people that can do that. And a lot of the people that are working with us have stepped up to the plate. Your next question, it's coming. I know what it is.
Well, there's so much information overload. There's the WhatsApp groups, the Telegram group. We've now created a website, and we've got people going like, oh, there's so much information, and these long sessions that we're doing. I know we're trying to get information and factual information to every MTI investors, because we MTI investors ourselves. But like where must the people go? Like, where's one spot that can find all the info? Let's make this easy.
Okay. Sorry, is there anything specific there, Stefan? Sorry, I understand that. I really do. The question is, we are flooded with information, and we are trying to get out as much as we possibly can so that people can make informed decisions. And that's all we're doing. And the informed decision right now is that it'll cost you nothing, or basically nothing, to submit your nomination or form, this initial requisition form. And it's going to cost you nothing. Number two, once you're on that system, you'll be able to register with your preferred liquidator, and you'll be able to put in your claims. And all of that's going to cost you nothing. All of that. That's what we're saying at the moment. For us to continue as RAG, we are going to need some support, but because we've got 80,000 emails to deal with, we have got very many investors, and all these questions and the videos and the talking to the solicitors and all of the stuff that we are doing at the moment does cost money. So it's not for free for us. At the moment, we are doing this on behalf of the investors, but we're leaving the choice up to the investors. And if we do go ahead, we will exist as a non-profit organization. That is one of the options that we have to examine in the future. At the moment, once we've got the liquidators appointment, once that's all finished, then we'll have to re-examine and re-look what we do after that.
Okay. So you said we are a non-profit, so are we?
No, we aren't yet, because we haven't told people where to send money. So we're still a self-funding organization. We are being funded by all these people who are working pro bono as such. You know, we're all out there, we're working for nothing. I mean, I have no claim on anybody at this stage of the game. Doesn't matter what I've put into doing this and what you've put into doing this, or what Stefan, because we're a pro bono organization at this stage.
Okay.
Because we haven't said, here is our address, please, could you support us? Would you support us? We haven't done that, but we might have to do that. We will have these conversations in the future. And I'm not saying, I did post right at the beginning when I wrote the plan. I said we will have to look at what it costs, because all of us eventually are going to go back to, we have to go back to a day job to earn some money and some food.
I'm going to ask you two more questions, but I do want to answer Galaxy S9's question, and I have no idea what the question is yet. And Patrick Carter, I'm going to get to your question, and I have no idea what that is. So can Galaxy S9 please tell me what your name is to start with, because I'd like to address you by your name, and give me your question. And then Patrick Carter, I'm sorry to ask you to retype your question, but there's so much information coming through, and Stephen is frantically trying to obviously answer questions. And Lee, I don't know who you are, you're helping. I saw Henk helping. Guys, we all investors helping. Thank you so much. So while
Sharon, can I ask Patrick's question?
Yes.
Patrick is saying the courts are so slow. Is it even worth going the legal route?
Well, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? I am not going to bloody my hands when there's a legal system that I can trust to get this resolved. There is no other way to do it. Please, guys, and I implore you all, the best way to solve this. There are families and children and all sorts of other people involved. If we do it through the courts, we get the perpetrators. If we do it, if we go in there like a bull in a china shop, we are going to hurt children and wives that are innocent. I'm not up for that. I'd rather just say, keep it, be happy, and let's go on and get on with our lives. I'm not interested in any of that sort of nonsense. I don't even want anybody to think like that. Let's go. It's going to take longer through the courts, but they are thorough. These guys that we've got are thorough. They will get that money. They will get, if there's anything to get, they'll get it. But I'll tell you, I'd be very surprised if they don't get just about all of it.
Patrick, and I just want to add to that, because you're saying, obviously on a live broadcast here, that we all know how South Africa is and how the master of the office work, and we'll all be dead and gone before they find anything. I would have said that to you 6 months ago. Absolutely, I agree. I've been a police reservist myself for many years. I would agree with you there, okay? I know how our system has failed us over and over again. But I have not put my life on this call and as being part of this RAG group without doing my homework. The guys that we have got on this job, doing this job, they have tracked Bitcoin. And I'm talking about 535 Bitcoin in another Ponzi scheme. They have found other stuff. They've liquidated other stuff. When we say we've got the right team doing what we've got, and Chris reiterated that just now, I'm telling you now, we are going to get whoever we need to get. I'm a small investor in MTI. I only joined this year in April. Not this year. Take that back, because it's now a new year. In 2020 April, that's when I joined. I'm a small fry in this big pond, but we have got the right people. I don't want you, Patrick, to lose hope. I want to give you hope. I'm not putting my face out here for the whole world to see, and I know that we've got the wrong people. That's not what this is about. We have got the right people fighting for your family, for my family, for everybody else's family here. I've got friends that I said, come and do this after I'd done my research, just like you did, just like Chris did, just like Stefan did. Okay, we are all devastated and gutted, and the people who need to be taken to book will be with what's happening behind the scenes. And obviously we have a bit more info. We cannot put it out there because this comes from the advocates. This comes from the FBI. Like, the days are slim. It's going to happen. So, and I know I'm getting emotional, but we're on the right track. Trust RAG. Okay.
Yes.
I'm a single parent. I would not go and put my face on international TV and have a target on my back like I've had in the last 4 days.
Yeah, I think you guys must also realize that we've had death threats already, and it's you know, to come out here and talk like this again for the investment we've got is minuscule to having to put our lives on the line for this, because that is what the situation is at the moment. Okay.
Chris,
let's move on.
Can I ask Galaxy S9's question?
Yeah.
He's actually got a 3-in-1 question.
Why can't he put up his name? What's wrong with him? You know, I'm standing here, my name's all over the world. Why do you have to be called Galaxy S9? Anyway, ask the question.
Let me ask the question.
Just lose my respect for somebody who hasn't got the guts to put his name on the system.
It's a 3-part question. Why was Johann Kruger involved with RAG, and how does RAG have access to the MTI server email support, and are RAG communicating with the police?
Let me start. Let's do them one at a time. So the first question you had, I think we've covered 1 or 2 of those already in this call, but correct. Go with the first question again.
Johann Kruger, is he involved
with Johann
RAG?
Kruger. Johann Kruger is not directly involved with the management of RAG. When we started out the initial conferences, we called all the leaders of their groups to come along so that they could find out what the truth was. So in the initial conferences, those were open conferences to bring senior people who had lots of influence. And my hand goes out to those people and say, I hope you've communicated the truth to them, because you were invited to have a disclosure of the truth. That's why they were brought to the table. So we didn't say, well, you know, the people who we're coming to the table for these conferences need to be vetted in any way, because everybody needs to get to the truth and really know what's going on, because there's a lot of denial about who these people in MTI are. And quite honestly, there is, on the management of MTI, people who have repeatedly done these Ponzi schemes and have been pursued by criminal action by the police. So I'm not going to disclose names at this stage of the game, But that is the type of people we are dealing with. And that's why they won't come to the table. I'll tell you now, not one of them has got the guts to come to the table and say, here I am, let's sort it out. But please prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong.
Okay, Johan, Galaxy is 9 says his name's Toby.
Thanks,
And
Toby.
thank you for your questions, Toby. The access to the MTI server email support, we already answered that.
Yeah, I just
we have no way of form contact with that.
Yeah, we have
and
no
then
contact.
The last question: are we talking to the police directly? Is RAG communicating with the police directly?
The answer to that is obviously we have to pass, and we are under an obligation in terms of the law itself, that any disclosures that come to us which can further their investigation has to go to the police. And we will on when this whole thing, we have been in contact with them and we are talking at a very high level. But what will happen is during the next couple of this next week, we will put up the correct people to contact in the police. So we need to find out from the police, how do they want to centralize this action so that we can feed them the information they need to be able to pursue these characters. So that is definitely going to be one of the things we're going to ask you for. And we have asked you for that already. We've asked the investors for that. And we've had quite a number of replies there already of information that has been sent to us, which we've passed on to the police.
Okay, next question is, has RAG had any communication with MTI and or any of their staff, and what is being said or communicated?
I can say that there are MTI staff that have come forward directly to our advocates. So yes, there are people in MTI structure, the actual administration structure, which are saying, look, I don't want any part of this. I didn't know this was going on. How can I help? Yes, there are some really good people out there who have done that. People with integrity who didn't know what was happening around them. So yes, and I thank them, and that's been really brave of those people. But obviously for their own edification, I won't release any names here. But there are people that were reasonably high up and didn't fully understand what the situation was, but they were workers within MTI. And that's the answer. That's what makes the difference and helps all the investors and will speed up this whole process.
Okay, are there any other questions, Stefan, that
maybe the last question on the list of questions on the chat. Will the RAG members be requesting remuneration in any form whatsoever from MTI members or via the liquidators for this effort /plan?
It's unclear at this stage. Look, we haven't said to anybody, look, we'll do this for money. None of us have said that. But also, we have to be realistic about this. And we have not been offered any money from the liquidators, the solicitors, or any of those people. Nothing like that has taken place. And we didn't ask any of them for that either. I think what will happen in the future will depend on how much support we get from the investors. Because I think if the investors turn around and say, guys, we need you as an organization to hold people to account and to keep us informed and to be our friends, we are prepared to support you, then we might start something like a Patreon or a PayPal thing. But in that case, we will be a non-profit organization. At this stage of the game, we've tried to put a structure together. We've had the discussion, but every time something has come up and we just find that the actual doing the work is more important than anything else. And that's really happened. We've had 3 of these, and then all of a sudden we've got a fire to some troll is talking nonsense somewhere, or some solicitor is saying that he was now part of the team and false information to the media, and then we have to get advocates to go and talk to him and say, listen, you're just lying, and if you don't stop, we're going to sue you. So there are a lot of people out there making claims that are false claims about this whole thing. And I think I've answered that. The first thing is we are pro bono, and there's no doubt about that. but you can't host this sort of stuff and do all the work that we've done, and it doesn't cost money. At this stage, it's come out of our pockets. Does that answer it adequately?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and all of us are investors, and some have also got careers or other businesses, and it's been, COVID in 2020, and others like me have only had MTI, and now I don't have that. So, it's affected people very, very differently. But, right now, money's not the priority here for any of us at RAG. The priority is to answer 8,000 emails that come in on a day, 80,000 emails that come in, daily, WhatsApps, all of that, and to try and get back to people. And people get annoyed that we're not getting back to them, but it's physically impossible. I mean, if I tell you the amount of sleep that all of us have had in the last 4 days.
What is sleep? What is sleep? But I think I just sort of did some figures in my head quickly. The amount, if I get back every penny that I have put into MTI tomorrow at the current value, exchange rate value of Bitcoin to pounds, it's about 1/3 of the costs. It's even less than that. It's less than 1/3 of what it's cost me to do this work for you guys. And that's where I am. That's my pro bono at this stage of the game. That's where I am today. And all of us have got day jobs, and I had to get permission from my board to be able to do this. Okay, and that's the truth. There was a board meeting where I had to say, look, guys, I'm going to get involved in this. Can I do it? And my board said, look, somewhere along the line, we've got to work out how this is going to affect us. But in this holiday period, go for it. And that company has funded everything that we've put into this so far. So that's where we are. And I'm not told anybody that I will do this and get paid for it.
Yeah.
That's where we are today.
Your last words, Stefan, before we close down this webinar?
I just want to point people to our website. A lot of the questions that come have been answered in previous calls that we had, previous meetings. We try and put as much information as we possibly can on the website. We are really overwhelmed with all the questions that we receive. Many of the questions overlap, so it's impossible to answer every person individually. Please go to the website for more information. And I just want to, from my side, say that I have all the confidence in the legal people that are supporting us. I believe they're experts with the correct experience. That is why I have thrown in my support with the RAG team. And I do believe we're on the right track. We might be slow sometimes, but we're trying our best. And thank you to everybody for understanding the challenges that we have. But I do believe that we're going in the right direction. Thank you.
I only have one thing. I hope and I trust that what we've done is of value to the investors, and that this will turn out to be good for them. That's all. Happy New Year. It's yours, Sharon.
To everybody on this call, first of all, Stefan, Chris, I know the amount of work, the hours. You just need to go to the website, and everybody here on this call will see the work. I mean, it's there for everybody to see. The exhaustion is real. I want you to know that each and every one of us at RAG, because not everybody from the RAG committee is on this call, each and every one of us are fighting for each and every MTI investor worldwide. And whether that is a true figure of 280,000 members, we are fighting for each and every single one of you individually. So 2021 is going to be a better year. It started off and with all of this going on, and people are dire straits because of MTI, because of MTI management, because of the MTI board. I pray to God that they are on this call, that they are watching and hearing and listening, because it's in their best interest that they step forward and we resolve this. Because like Chris said, if they step forward, this could all be resolved in the next 6 months. and we'll all have our Bitcoin. And whether you draw your Bitcoin, put it somewhere, who cares? But at least we'll have our money back, and lives will not be destroyed, and families and homes will not be destroyed. So right now, I just want to say it's a new year, it's a new beginning. It's the 1st of January 2021. I'm here for each and every one of you. You'll find me on the website. We'll put a short CV out of who we are, but we're here for you. Be blessed, and really just know that you can trust us. We're going to do this together. So
Yeah, guys, if you want to go your own way, you know, we can't stop you. You go for it. No problem at all. And if you need to check anything, if I'm going to told, if you need to check anything, we've said go to your solicitor and check it out. No problem.
Yeah, go and check us out. Go and do your homework. We're just fighting for each and everyone who deserves to get every penny back. So God bless. Have a great year. We'll chat to you soon. Follow us on the website.
Thanks for tolerating. Cheers, guys.